morning, everyone, and welcome to Grace Family Church Digital Campus. It is so great to have you with us this week, Sunday. I'm excited to have you with us, Tom.
Hello, Kerry. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in wherever you're tuning in from. We got people watching from all over the world these days. I don't often get to host, so I'm quite excited about it.
This is what you look like sitting down. You used to just seeing the top half of him. There is a bottom half to him.
Not very long bottom half.
Not a very long bottom half.
But I get to wear my hat as well because I can't preach in a hat. It just doesn't feel right. So salute, hello.
Salute to you with your growing hair. That's also why he's wearing the hat.
Yes, I'm basically hiding my hair.
Hiding the surfer hair, exactly. While you guys are joining us, you'll see that we've got a host team that welcome on a Sunday morning as well. They give you all the information throughout the service, and we are always looking for people to join this time. So if you would like to join our host team, one of our hosts will pop in the comment section a link for you to fill out a form, and we'd love for you guys to join us with that team.
Yeah, awesome. It's amazing that you can still be part of the team and volunteer and use your gifts and your ability to reach people all around the world just by being a host. So thank you to the hosts, and it'd be awesome to have more people on the team. We got Marc Poree, our Ballito campus pastor, who's with us. We're continuing in our series, How to Heal. And this message is really about how we bond to others and connect with others in this journey towards healing. So,
it's great.
Marc, welcome.
Have you ever been thirsty and you go to a tap and you turn it on and nothing comes out? Well, if you live in the KZN coast at the moment, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, if you live in South Africa at the moment, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So why do you go to a tap when you need water? Because taps are designed to deliver. And you may not realize this, but you are also designed to deliver. Taps are designed to deliver life-giving water, and you and I are designed to deliver life in the form of grace and truth. Grace, when delivered, looks like love and acceptance. The thing is, in order for a tap to deliver life-giving water, 3 things need to be in place. And this may seem obvious, but this is important. It must be connected. It must be connected to the right source, and the tap must be open. And this is a great picture of the way God has designed us to live. We need to be connected. We need to be connected to the right source, and we need to be open to receive life and to give life. This message is called Connected for Life. That is not a time statement, but a purpose statement. We are designed to give and receive emotional, psychological, and physical support. We are not supposed to live independent, detached lives. We will only experience life and healing as God intended when we are interdependent, well connected, and well bonded with other people. Now, we are in the second week of a series called How to Heal, and this series is inspired by Dr. Henry Cloud's course, Churches That Heal. You see, we want to join God in His mission to bring healing to a broken world, and we know that in order for us to do that well, we need healing for ourselves. Last week, we spoke about 3 critical ingredients for healing: grace, truth, and time. Grace is a gift, so receive it. You can only receive this. You can't earn it. You can't deserve it. And so, again, I want to remind you and I want to invite you, receive the gift of grace and give the gift of grace. Truth is reality, so believe it. So often we don't want to believe the reality. We don't want to believe truth or receive and kind of accept truth because it can be difficult. It can be tough. And again, I want to say, would you be courageous and call truth for what it is? It is reality, so believe it. And then lastly, time. Time is limited, so redeem it. We have this window of time that God has gifted us with. And it's an opportunity while we live on earth to be transformed more and more into Christ likeness, to receive the healing and the fullness of life that God has for us. And so let's use our time well. So with that in mind, what is the next step to finding healing and giving healing to others? Well, to get back to our tap, being connected for life is the next important step. Paul uses the body to emphasize this point. He says, God makes the whole body fit together perfectly. As each part does its own special work, it helps the other parts grow, so that the whole body is healthy and growing and full of love. When we are connected, we help others grow, and we become healthy, and we demonstrate the love of God. And this identifies us as His children and as His followers. And not only do we help others grow, but we grow and we find healing when we connect like that. We said there are 3 things that need to be in place for us to function and experience life and healing the way God intended. Well, it's to be connected, and it's to be connected to the right source. Dr. Henry Cloud would use the word bonding. What is bonding? Well, bonding is the ability to establish an emotional attachment to another person. It is the ability to relate to someone on the deepest level. When 2 people have a bond, they are able to share their dreams and fears and weaknesses with other person without any fear of being rejected. Now, more than any other person in my life, that person has been my wife, Mans. She has been amazing at just teaching me and allowing God to use her to teach me about grace and truth and acceptance. Actually, when we were teenagers, our friends gave us a nickname. We were called Bostic and Prestic. Now, if you're not South African, basically that those are 2 different types of glues in essence. And because people recognize that we were soulmates, that we were together. And it's been a life-giving relationship. The foundation of being a human being is connectedness or bonding. God created us with a need for relationships, should I say, in relationship with Him and with other people. At our core, we are relational beings. Without a solid bonded relationship, the human soul will become stuck in psychological and social problems. The soul cannot prosper without being connected to others. And this is why we in this series is that we want to see people find freedom and find healing at the deepest level of their souls. From the beginning of creation, God said, "It is not good for humans to be alone." Nothing in the universe grows without support and nutrition. And this is why the Bible often uses plants as a picture of growth. They have to be connected to something outside of themselves. Jesus talks about this. He gives us this picture of the vine and the branches. Listen to His words. He says, "Yes, I am the vine, and you are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing." I love this picture because I grew up on a farm where we had vines, and my father was always grafting vines. And if the graft was not successful, then the branch would not grow. But if it was successful, then the life of the vine would flow through that branch and it would grow, and eventually it would produce fruit. You see, God is a relational being, and He created a relational universe. At the foundation of every living thing is the idea of relationship. Everything that is alive relates to something else. God is not alone. Even God, He exists in 3 persons. Right at the beginning in creation, God says, "Let us make man in our image." You'll find this in the book of Genesis. Jesus emphasizes the importance of relationship in a prayer to His dad. And I love this prayer because it just shows how important this topic is that we're talking about. Jesus prays to Dad and He says, "I am praying not only for those disciples, but also for all who will ever believe in me through their message. I pray that they will all be one, just as you and I are one, as you are in me, Father, and I am in you. And may they be in us so that the world will believe that you sent me. I have given them the glory you gave me, so they may be one as we are one. I am in them, and you are in me. May they experience such perfect unity that the world will know that you sent me and that you love them as much as you love me." You see, when we really come together, when we really experience bonding, when we experience intimate relationship, we experience something of the life and the nature and the love of God in the most profound and the most life-changing way. Jesus' words highlight the importance of relationship, the importance of connection. Not just any connection, but a connection for God's glory and for God's benefits. Not only do we need to be connected, but we need to be connected to the right source. When bonding has not taken place, we can become detached. And this is where we no longer connect emotionally with other people. Many people who are successful in business and sports careers suffer from detachment. And so often we just look at those kind of successes and we think they've got it all together, but so often that person is living wounded and living without really experiencing life because they are around people all the time, but they don't connect on an emotional level. Their need for relationship causes them to be driven and they work hard and they achieve great success. But their families feel disconnected from them and their friends don't actually know what's really going on in their hearts. And that might be you today. As you watch this, as you listen to this, that might be you. And I'm so glad that you're listening to this if that is you, because God wants you to experience something deeper, something more rich, something more personal. You see, when we are isolated and detached from others, life loses its meaning. A tap that is disconnected becomes irrelevant. And this is how many detached people feel. No matter how much they accumulate or achieve, it just doesn't really mean anything. This often happens when someone has lost a meaningful relationship. They cut themselves off and become isolated. You know, the writer of Ecclesiastes puts it like this. He says, I observed yet another example of something meaningless under the sun. This is the case of a man who is all alone, without a child or a brother or a friend. Yet he who works hard, he gains as much wealth as he can. But then he asks himself, who am I working for? Why am I giving up so much pleasure now? It is all so meaningless and depressing. The writer carries on, he says, 2 people are better than 1, for they can help each other succeed. If one person falls, the other can reach out and help. But someone who falls alone is in real trouble. Likewise, 2 people lying together can keep each other warm. But how can one be warm alone? A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. And these are powerful words because they're so practical and so real. And yet so often we can miss this as we withdraw, as we close off our heart, as we detach and we become disconnected from the people around us. So many people miss out on this kind of connection because of bad experiences. When we have been hurt or when we have had bad relational experiences, it's easy for us to disconnect and become detached. But when we do this, especially over long periods of time, we run the risk of experiencing the following kind of symptoms. We run the risk of sliding into depression, of finding ourselves in places of loneliness, of feeling bad about ourselves or feeling guilt. Worse, we move into addictions and we start to have suicidal thoughts. And I talk to people all the time in these kind of spaces simply because they've become disconnected from those who love them. So how do we learn to bond? If this is so important, if this is part of God's design for us, what do we do? How do we learn to bond? Well, having good emotional connection is as natural as a plant taking in water. But we are not plants living in the Garden of Eden. Therefore, we require some serious gardening in order to bear fruit. Making human connections when you have not grown up with them takes a good measure of grace, truth, and time. This will take effort. So let's look at some skills that will help you bond so that you can find healing. The first is realize the need. You see, many of us don't realize that our problems stem from a lack of bonding and attachment. You may not have grown up in a family where closeness was valued, or maybe you've suffered relational harm and you didn't develop close relational bonds. And so this is kind of a foreign idea. Well, the first is to recognize that maybe you have a need, as I have a need. Once you've done that, move towards others. It's great when others move towards you and to truly know you and understand you, but that really is what God does. For the most part, others cannot see what you need and how emotionally isolated you really are. Therefore, to the best of your ability, actively reach out and ask for help, ask for support, move towards somebody else. Now, this is maybe the most important skill that we can develop, this next one, which is to be vulnerable. And for most of us, this just makes us want to turn off the message right now and just stop listening, okay? And this was a massive challenge in my life, my personal journey with God and as I grew as an adult. You see, you can move towards others. You can be socially connected to others, yet still be isolated. Your isolation may stem from your inability to be open, your inability to show your real self to others. To learn to be vulnerable is just so important. To be vulnerable literally means to be open to criticism or attack. That's why none of us want to be vulnerable. We need to be so open with our needs that we are open for that criticism and attack. That's what it means to be vulnerable. You see, realization of need is the beginning of growth, and humility and vulnerability are absolutely necessary for bonding to take place at a deeper level. Being vulnerable at a social level may be too threatening at first. As I speak about this, you may just be thinking, this is just not me. Well, maybe you need to start with a close friend or a counselor or a support group. But vulnerability is a skill that opens up the heart for love to take root. When you can admit that you need support and help and can reveal your hurt and isolation, a dynamic is set in motion that can literally transform your personality and life. And another skill that is so helpful to develop is to challenge your distorted thinking. You see, distorted thinking blocks you from relating to others, and this essentially causes you to repeat what happened in the past. Challenge those thoughts. Challenge that kind of thinking. Dr. Henry Cloud would say this: to the extent that you see the world through your childhood eyeglasses, your past will be your future. Friends, don't let your past determine your future. We've got to challenge the bad thinking that we have. For example, if you don't challenge the belief that all people will leave you, you will never form an abiding attachment. You will recreate the isolation of your past because of fear, because of what's taken place before. Now, the Lord has promised to reveal the truth to you. Ask Him to show you your particular distortions. I've done this, and it's been a massive help, a massive life-changing journey for me. Again, to quote Dr. Henry Cloud, but distorted thinking was learned in the context of relationships, and that is the only place where it can be unlearned. And this is the challenge, is that when we've been hurt in those places, we don't want to go back there. But that's exactly where we need to go to find healing, to find freedom, to find wholeness. You need a new relationship to undo the learning of the past. There your real self can be connected in grace and truth, thereby being transformed. This was my experience when I met my wife, Mans. And people that know me have heard me tell the story many, many times, how she accepted me in spite of all the mess, all the brokenness, all the bad things I'd done. She chose to offer grace, and it changed my life. Another one is to take risks. Because as I'm going down this list and I'm talking, I just know that for some of you listening, you just want to run. Well, I want to ask you not to move away, but to draw closer and to take a risk, to learn new relational skills in the way of attachment. Always is risky. You need to open the tap. It doesn't help that we kind of connect, but we keep the tap closed. And there's this beautiful picture that we find in the book of Revelations, and it's Jesus. Listen to these words. Here I am, Jesus says. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person, and they with me. You see, you have a responsibility to hear the voice and open the door. People and God will call you, but if your disordered thinking and your resistance to risk gets in the way, you will keep the door closed so that bonding cannot happen. Allow yourself to risk valuing somebody emotionally again. Risk getting hurt again. This is difficult, but it's absolutely essential in order for us to be healed. And then allow dependent feelings. Now this is the most foreign idea to someone like me, the way I grew up. Whenever you begin to allow someone to matter to your isolated heart, uncomfortable, needy, and dependent feelings will surface. And for some of us, we've spent our whole life learning how to shut those things off and not let us even experience that. But actually, when we feel that, that's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. Because these are the beginnings of a softening heart. Even though it's uncomfortable, these feelings are key to bonding. Many times you think you just got to keep a stiff upper lip, you just got to hold people at arm's length. But allowing your tender, needy sides to show to the ones that you need will cement the attachment and allow it to grow. Recognize those defenses in your life, because when you recognize your own particular defenses against attachment, as soon as you can spot the old familiar patterns, you can begin to notice them in your own responses and take responsibility for them. Remember, you are responsible for your own growth. It's nobody else's responsibility but yours. And the challenge, what's important is that we challenge our old ways of acting and allow the Holy Spirit to empower you to resist your defenses. God is so gracious in these things, because when we look to Him and we rely on Him, you know what? He gives us the strength and He gives us the grace to be able to embrace these changes. And maybe one of the most important skills to develop is to pray and to meditate. David prays this prayer, and I've been praying this prayer or a version of this prayer for many, many years, and it's been totally life-changing for me. Listen to David's words. He says, "Search me, O God, know my heart, test me, and know my anxious thoughts. Point out anything in me that offends you, and lead me along the path of everlasting life." This prayer is just such a powerful prayer. Ask God to reveal what's going on in your own heart, because sometimes we don't understand it ourselves. Ask Him to give you understanding for your inability to connect. Abiding is God's highest value for you, so you can be assured of His desire to help you reach this goal. He's fully on board with you to help you learn to connect and to bond. And then be empathetic. Empathy is the ability to share in others' emotions, thoughts, or feelings. Empathizing with others' needs, identifying with their hurts, softens your own heart. And I've seen many hard-hearted people soften when engaging with the hurts of others. My wife and I used to run a children's home, and I've watched this take place so many times where people would come on to the premises and they would be hard and they would be brash, and then they would just hang out and they'd spend time with these children, and they would see the hurts and the pain, and they would hear the stories, and God would just begin to melt away that hardness, and they would leave feeling healed and restored. And then, friends, rely on the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit empowers you to change and to come out from the bondage of your old ways of being. Ask Him to free you from the grip of your defenses. Ask Him to give you courage to take the first steps to connect with others. Ask Him for help. You can't do it alone. You are not designed to do it alone. So why is bonding so important? Well, here's the simple truth. If there's no connection, there's no real life. If there's no connection, there's no real healing. And if there's no connection, there's no wholeness. And my prayer for you, and God's desire for you is that you would experience complete healing and wholeness. You see, friends, as we continue on our journey towards healing, let us position ourselves for healing. Let us position ourselves to give and receive grace and truth. It will take time. It'll take effort. But without being connected, you cannot give and receive the life that God has given to you. This is His design. He's connected us into His body. He's designed us to have His life flow into us and His life flow out of us to others. Jesus is standing at the door of your heart right now, and He's knocking, and He's ready to come in. But remember, when Jesus comes into your life, He brings others with Him, and He brings healing to you. And as He brings healing to you, He invites you to join Him in bringing healing to the world around you. So are you ready? Are you ready to start the process of connecting? Are you ready to open your heart to Jesus and to the people around you, the people that love you, the people that God's brought into your life, so that you might experience real connection, real bonded, intimate, life-giving relationships? If you are, then won't you join me? Because I want to pray for you. I want to pray for me. Because this is a vital step as we continue on our journey of healing, learning how to receive grace and learning how to give it. So won't you pray with me? Father, I thank you. I thank you that in this moment, that Lord, you knock on the door of our hearts. And God, you don't want to see us disconnected. You don't want to see us living with hurts and pain that we don't know what to do with. You don't want to see us isolated and detached. But God, it has always been your desire, and it still is, that we would be in intimate relationship with you. That we would be in intimate relationship with people around us. That we would be connected, that your life would flow into us and would flow through us. And so God, I pray for every person listening to this message, that right now, wherever they are, that you would fill them with your peace. That you would fill them with grace and courage and strength to take the next step, to move towards others, to be vulnerable, to make a connection and to allow your life to begin to bring healing and wholeness to them and then to the people that they connect with. We thank you for this in Jesus' name. Amen. May God bless you.
I'm caught up in your presence. I just want to sit here at your feet. I'm caught up in this holy moment. I never want to leave. Oh, I'm not here for blessings. Jesus, you don't owe me anything more than anything that you can do. I just want you. I'm sorry when I've just gone through the motions. I'm sorry I just sang another song. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. And I'm sorry when I've come with my agenda. I'm sorry when I forgot that you're enough. Take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. I'm caught up in your presence.
special time of worship this morning, Tom. I always love the time of worship together, as I say so many weeks in a row. But it is just a time for us to respond to God, for our souls and our hearts to respond to God, for us just to ready ourselves for the week ahead as well. And maybe if Marc's message spoke to you as well, you're talking about vulnerability with others and connecting and bonding with others, and sometimes the difficulty that some of us may experience towards that as well. If you have felt impacted by his message, if you maybe feel like there needs to be some kind of a response, we would love to pray with you. We would love to journey with you in whatever way you feel would be helpful to you. So let us know in the comment section. One of our hosts will connect with you. If you'd like to think about it and connect during the week, please email us on digital@grace.org.za, and I would love to connect with you with regards to that.
Yeah, I think it's so important because I do think that healing is not a solo sport,
Totally.
and that we need other people.
We do.
And I think part of the challenge watching online is that, it's great that you can watch content online and connect, and maybe you're watching this on your own, but we also know that part of the journey towards healing is doing it alongside others. And there are ways to connect online through prayer, through reaching out, through our counselors. And we have counselors counseling online. Yep. We have groups that meet online. So that even if you can't make it to physical spaces, there are ways to connect with other people. And we really encourage you to do that. We don't want to just be a place where you're consuming content, but rather actually a part of a community. That's why we call ourselves a digital campus, and we're a community of people. So we're going to take up an offering now, tithes and offering. And if this is when you give, I know many of you give sort of regularly via EFT, but if you will be, all the details will come up on the screens, EFT and Zapper and all of that stuff. And this is the way that we participate as a community to ensure that the mission and vision of our church, along with millions of other churches around the world, is moved forward for God's glory and for His kingdom. And so I just want to read to you from Proverbs chapter 11, just one verse 25. And I love this. It says, "A generous person will prosper. Those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed." And I think as we've been journeying through this season, certainly here in KZN, floods and rioting and all kinds of no water. And people have just been through stuff. And I think globally people are struggling. I love this idea of being refreshed.
Yeah.
And we are a church that wants to be a refreshing church for you and for others, for people. And we want to be, as followers of Christ, refreshing to the people around us. And we can do that through kindness, through support, through all kinds of things, but we can also do it through our giving. And so as you give, and to those who give regularly, I want to say thank you. Because your contribution, your faithfulness, it actually helps us to send out these messages, to reach people at the coalface of poverty who are struggling. I think we distributed 25 tons of food just in the last week to those suffering from the devastations of the flood. And that's because of your generosity. And know that people are being refreshed. And I pray that even as you give, you too would be refreshed, as the scriptures say. So, Otherwise, what are other ways we can get involved? Kerry, tell us about what's coming up.
I'm really excited actually, because we are coming up to the street store time of the year again. It is happening on the first Saturday of June, so it's a little bit of a while away. But for those who maybe don't know what the street store is, you can go and check out the full story on streetstore.org. But basically, it's just a free pop-up clothing store for the homeless. And this is where you can go through the time now, while we're telling you so early, so that you can go through your cupboards and send all your donations our way if you're in the local KZN area. We're looking for gently used clothing. We are looking for new underwear. And we're
not gently used underwear.
And we're looking for shoes. And we're looking for all of that for all genders and all ages, as well as non-battery operated toys. So now's the time for those who are local who can just drop off at those points for us, so that by the 1st of June, we'll have everything ready for the street store.
I love the street store. I took my kids there last time we had it, and it's more than just the clothing. It's a dignified shopping experience for the people who live on the street. For some people, it's the first time they've ever been able to choose their clothes. We do haircuts, we do pedicures and manicures, we wash feet. And we feed people. It's a beautiful day. If you can't actually drop off any of those supplies, again, your contributions to us financially also go towards initiatives like the street store. And that's just first Saturday. So that's first Saturday June, and then first Saturday May, which is coming up now. We love first Saturdays. We want to make love God, love people, make a difference, and this is just one way we do that. And so again, if you're in the local KZN area, we're going to be heading to Missions Ablaze, which is just outside Tongaat. to give one of our volunteer buildings a fresh coat of paint. And so if you'd like to do that, it's a great place to meet other people as well.
It is.
And make a difference at the same time. You can register so you don't miss out. And then again, if you live outside of the area, you can't make it to those, we still encourage you as a member of Grace Family Church, as a follower of Christ, as a part of the digital campus, to find areas in your community or volunteer initiatives in your community where you can serve, give of your time, your talent, your treasure, to make a difference. So it's not like an excuse, well, we can't get there. There's always opportunity for you to make a difference right where you are.
Exactly. No, we're not limited by where we are. It's actually great. We make more of a difference then further out in your local community. So it's wonderful. It is the church. Exactly. And we'd love to maybe see pics. So if we're painting and we're posting pics of painting in KZN, we'd love to see if you know, planting trees or doing something cool.
Awesome.
Why don't you take pictures, send them with us, on social media. A way for you to get in touch with us as well and stay up to date is through our podcasts on a Tuesday. We've got 10 with Tom on a Thursday, and also on our WhatsApp broadcast list, we send out all of these things to you. So it's great to join that list if you haven't already.
Yeah, my mom is like, she's a WhatsApp broadcast person.
Is she?
She doesn't know how to go find it on YouTube, so just send her the links, and then she forwards it to all her group and stuff.
That's what's handy.
So WhatsApp for the win.
And I said 10 with Tom, so this is Tom, and this has almost been 10 with Tom with me.
Well, who's on the podcast this week? Do we know?
We have a couple on the podcast this week.
Ah, cool.
So
awesome.
that'll be really interesting. You don't want to miss that. And if you did miss last week's where we started off with Mads, she started off this week of this new series in a really awesome way. So you don't want to miss out on that. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell if you're on YouTube. This way you get to stay up to date. When things go live, you get notified. It also helps us to grow our followers. And like you said earlier, that is just a way for us to take the message of Jesus out to the world. So it's great for us.
In some ways, it's never been easier to share the gospel message. It's simply a click and a subscribe and a bell.
Exactly.
And who knows what God might do through a message. Yeah.
For sure, definitely. It has been great to have you on the side of the camera. The lower end of the camera with me today. It's been so great to have all of you joining us this Sunday as well. We look forward to catching you on Tuesday, on Thursday, or otherwise next week Sunday. Cheers, everyone.
Bye.